There are questions that arrive softly, almost unnoticed questions, so simple, so innocent, that our minds skip past them without hesitation. Yet behind their gentle surface lies an abyss, a conceptual cliff that can unmake everything we believe about the universe. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world dims and the stars emerge, one such question lingers in the dark. What does a photon experience as it travels? The question seems harmless, almost childish. A photon is just a particle of light, weightless, eternal, universal. It streams through the cosmos, strikes our eyes, paints our world with colors, and carries the stories of distant stars. But the moment we stop treating it as a mundane phenomenon and instead look deeply, truly deeply into what a photon is, the ground beneath us begins to shift. For the photon, the cosmos is not what it is for us. Its reality is not our reality. Its existence is not bound to the same laws that tie us to aging, to waiting, to traveling across distance. When we ask, what does a photon experience, we are not merely inquiring about a tiny particle. We are challenging the very structure of time, space, and existence. We are daring to glimpse a mode of being entirely unlike our own one, that may hold hints of a universe far stranger than we ever imagined. Imagine a star on the far edge of the observable universe. It lived, shone, collapsed into darkness billions of years before humanity existed, yet its light is only now arriving, after crossing a gulf so vast that numbers lose their meaning. We imagine the photon's journey, passing through nebulae, skimming past galaxies, slipping across epochs, witnessing the birth and death of stars. But this story, beautiful as it is, belongs only to us. It is a human story built on human intuition, because for the photon itself, none of this happens. It has no journey, no time, no distance, no before or after. It is simply emitted and absorbed. Two events, one moment, nothing in between. To confront this is to realize that the universe we live in is not the universe as it truly is. There are layers we do not see, dimensions we cannot touch, and forms of existence forever beyond our biological senses. The photon is the messenger of these hidden truths, so whisper from the deeper fabric of reality. But once we hear it, we cannot unhear it. When we open our eyes, we assume we share the same present moment as everything we see. We believe that light arrives from the present of distant objects into our present. But this belief comes from a uniquely human perspective, one rooted in our slow pace, our aging bodies, our clocks that tick 1 second at a time. The photon does not share this rhythm. It cannot. To have a present means to have a private timeline, a sequence of internal changes. A personal clock marking the passage of moments. A stone has one. A tree has one. A human has one. Even a virus has one. But a photon does not. It has no rest frame, no stillness, no pause, because it always moves at the speed of light. The one speed the universe forbids anything to exceed or even equal unless it has no mass. And at that speed, time does not flow. It freezes. From the photon's theoretical perspective, there is no present moment because time never starts, it never begins. It never ends. It never happens at all. To us, this sounds impossible. We breathe in moments. We live inside seconds. Our memories, our hopes, our choices, they are woven into the fabric of time. Yet for light, the very thing that reveals the world to us, time is not a river. It is not even a concept. It is the absence of something we cannot imagine living without. A photon appears. A photon disappears. What exists between these events is only for the observer, never for the light itself. The photon becomes a reminder of the narrowness of our perception. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as beings who move slowly enough for time to matter. And through light, the universe hints at a deeper possibility, that the present is not universal, not absolute, not sacred. It is simply one way, our way of experiencing existence. Einstein's theory of relativity tells us that time is flexible. It stretches and contracts depending on motion and gravity. But proper time, the time experienced internally by an object, is the most intimate form of time. It is the time that belongs to the object itself, the time written into its very being. For a photon, this number is not small. It is not tiny. It is not infinitesimal. It is zero. Not nearly zero. Not approaching zero. Zero, exactly. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is the literal mathematical consequence of relativity. The equation for proper time includes the factor square root 1 v squared per c squared. At the speed of light, v equals c. The term becomes zero, and the entire expression collapses. A photon does not age. A photon does not wait. A photon does not transition from one moment to the next. A photon, in a sense, does not experience existence at all, and yet, it exists. It interacts with the world. It carries momentum. It transfers energy. It paints the sky with colors and fuels the life of all living creatures. It is one of the most fundamental players in the cosmic drama, and still, it lives entirely outside the flow of time. This leads us to a question that touches the edge of philosophy. What does it mean to exist without experiencing time? To be present in the universe and yet have no internal story, no passage, no becoming? The photon forces us to consider that time, the dimension we treat as inevitable, is not a universal property of reality. It is a privilege of beings with mass, a privilege of slowness, a privilege of limitation. We age because we cannot move like light. We wait because we cannot be like light. We experience because we are held back from the freedom light possesses. And perhaps, freedom, in its purest form, is the absence of time itself. If time collapses at the speed of light, what becomes of space? Surely distance must remain, for we see light travel from one place to another. We measure it, we rely on it, we map the universe through it. But relativity is not so gentle. If time bends, so does space. And as velocity approaches the speed of light, lengths in the direction of motion begin to shrink. The contraction is small, at first undetectable in daily life. But as the speed grows, the contraction accelerates. Distances begin to fold. Space tightens like stretched fabric. At the speed of light, the contraction reaches its limit, and the length becomes zero. From the photon's mathematical frame, the distance from one galaxy to another collapses. 10 billion light-years flatten into a single point. The universe itself shrinks along the axis of motion until there is no axis left. The photon does not cross space. Space simply does not exist for it. This idea is profoundly unsettling, because distance is one of the bedrock elements of human experience. We know what it means to walk across a room, to drive across a city, to cross a continent. The idea of far and near is woven into our daily vocabulary. But the photon teaches us a more humbling truth. Distance is not absolute. It is not universal. It depends on who or what you are. It depends on how fast you move relative to the fabric of space-time. We believe distance is real because we move slowly. But for the fastest entity in the universe, distance is an illusion. We humans love stories of journeys, stories of travelers, stories of movement from here to there. When we talk about light, we speak this same language. We imagine photons leaving stars, crossing space, and arriving at Earth. We imagine them as tiny voyagers, crossing the oceans of the cosmos. But that is our story, not theirs. In the quantum description of reality, a photon is not a ball that moves. It is an excitation in a field, a ripple that appears when energy is released and disappears when that energy is absorbed. Between these events, the quantum description does not describe a particle moving through space. It describes a relationship, a correlation, a connection between 2 points in space-time. Light is not the traveler. Light is the thread. It does not go from A to B. It relates A and B. This is difficult to grasp because our intuition demands motion. We cannot imagine a world where something arrives without traveling, or where travel means something entirely different from what we know. But the universe is under no obligation to obey human intuition. The photon transcends the narrative of movement. It teaches us that existence can be defined not by motion, but by connection. The photon shows us a universe where the deepest truths do not lie in things moving through space, but in the hidden relationships that bind the cosmos together. For a being with no time, the photon strangely becomes the universe's greatest historian, not because it remembers, but because it cannot forget. Because forgetting requires time and light has none. Every photon carries the imprint of its birth, the heat of a star, the collision of particles, the death of an atom. When it reaches us, it delivers that information as perfectly as when it was created. A photon from the surface of the sun arriving at your eye has undergone no aging, no decay, no internal transformation. A photon from a galaxy billions of years away tells us the story of a world long vanished. And the oldest photons of all the cosmic microwave background bring us the whisper of creation itself. They are 13.8 billion years old in our time. But for them, no time has passed. Light becomes the cosmic web that ties yesterday to today, the distant to the near, the ancient to the newborn. Its presence grants us vision, knowledge, and orientation within the vastness of the universe. All of astronomy is built on this one fact: light never lies. Because light never changes, it shines as purely now as it did at the dawn of time. The photon is more than a particle of light. It is a challenge, a contradiction, a philosophical puzzle disguised as a quantum phenomenon. It shows us the limits of human understanding, not through complexity, but through simplicity. What does it mean that something can exist without time? What does it mean that something can arrive without traveling? What does it mean that the universe we see is shaped by something that does not experience time, space, or motion as we do? The photon is a mirror, reflecting the constraints of our biology back at us. Our fears, our insecurities, our sense of limitation. They are products of time, aging, waiting, regret. But the photon suggests that these may not be universal truths. They may be local illusions, side effects of the particular way we move through space-time. Light asks us to consider that reality may be bigger than our experience of it, that the boundaries we fear, time, distance, change, may not be boundaries at all. that there are modes of existence beyond our imagination. In the silence of the photon, the universe whispers, you see only one version of existence. There are others. As we conclude this journey, we return to the question that started it all. What does a photon experience as it travels? The answer is not merely scientific. It is profound. It is humbling. It invites us to rethink the meaning of journey, of time, of existence. The photon experiences nothing, yet reveals everything. It does not age, yet carries the age of the universe. It does not travel, yet maps the cosmos. It has no distance, yet defines the size of reality. It has no time, yet illuminates the history of all things. In this paradox, the photon reminds us that the universe is richer, deeper, and more extraordinary than the human mind was ever built to comprehend. It challenges us to expand our imagination, to embrace mystery, and to recognize that we inhabit only one narrow slice of the cosmic tapestry. Light is not simply what lets us see. Light is what teaches us how limited our vision truly is.